Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a discussion video, but really I think the title says most of it. You should be watching FanFest at the moment because it is FanFest and we should get a lot of cool information on the future for EVE Online. So I thought I'd make a video on that, go over the dev blog, take a look at the schedule and see if there's some stuff that we definitely don't want to miss. Now unfortunately, I have to go to work in real life, so I'll probably miss a lot of the good stuff, but still I think it's always a great time to be an EVE Online player, even if you can't make it at FanFest itself. So in the articles website we can always go for the dev blogs and then the FanFest 2018 mega blog. Let's take a look at that. First part here is actually mostly some practical points for people that are actively joining FanFest. You can see that generally there's quite a crowd of space nerds there. Awesome vibe, awesome atmosphere there. And so let's actually go to the very first day. What's actually something that everybody should try to attend, should try to watch live as well, the EVE Online keynote, of course. So we have on Thursday, 1700, should be EVE time, the EVE Online keynote. That is where hopefully we'll get a new trailer, lots of information on the plans that CCP has for the game. And if the last few FanFests are any indication, that's also when they'll drop the dev blogs on us. So right after or even during the keynote, CCP then publishes the dev blogs on all the future developments. This gives them the opportunity to start the conversation and to have the conversation during FanFest, during all of the roundtables. Personally, I'm a really big fan of that approach. It builds up the hype, but you can also give immediate feedback, and of course the attendees have the fortune that they can even talk straight to the devs, give their first thoughts about all of the plans that they have there. So we'll have CCP Seagull, CCP Burger, CCP Rice, and CCP Helmar to talk about what's coming in EVE Online and what's coming in the future. So yeah, as we burn towards the third decade of EVE Online, that's true as well. It's going to be the 15th anniversary of EVE Online in May. Hopefully we get some nice presents there. I think we all know that there is a Society of Conscious Thought battleship in the works. So it sounds pretty good. And then on Saturday, we also get the closing ceremony, which especially if you are from the US and you want to attend EVE Vegas, you might want to take a look at. What I'm not sure about is where do we get the trailer? I'm hoping for the keynote. I think it's going to be the keynote. That's of course always a highlight of FanFest as well. Let's hope that it's going to be a pretty good trailer. The rest of FanFest here, Capsule Chronicles, I think it's just a FanFest attendee thing. Maybe they'll show some of it on the stream. That would be cool, but it's a Capsule Chronicles Museum hosted in Harpa, so it's mostly for the attendees. I must say, Chronicles, the good old stories, the backstory of EVE Online is one of the major pulls for me personally when it comes to the game. I think I like this grimdark universe where you know, all actions have consequences, lots of mystery around there. Absolutely great. If you're like a newer player, do try to go to the website and go through some of those old chronicles. That's something that I read, I think all of them by now, and they were something that came out pretty regularly when I started playing EVE 9 years ago. I'm a little sad that they aren't keeping up with that as much, but yeah, there's so much history to go through now that they can even get a museum going at FanFest. EVE Prof, a space satirical, not sure. I'm not an improv guy myself, but definitely pretty awesome for the people that can manage something like that. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll catch some of that on stream. If not, it's not always for me. And then of course we have all the presentations and the roundtables. We'll take a closer look at that in the schedule itself. Caldari Corporation Cup. So apparently there is a tournament going on at FanFest as well. Something that I'm really not so much surprised by, but I think it's really cool how EVE NT has basically grown as almost a part of CCP when it comes to tournaments in EVE Online. They're always very active in all of that, and so if you want to watch the entire tournament, there's going to be a plus 10 games Twitch gaming channel to follow that, and then the finals will be broadcasted live at FanFest. There's the pub crawl, of course. Everybody's got a hangover after that. The FanFest parade. We were promised a parade. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen because of some construction works in the city there. That's maybe a bit unfortunate, but I'm an EVE Online player. A lot of this, to me, what matters is what's coming online. A real life parade. I mean, it's cool and it makes for a nice headline. But I also don't feel like it's an obligation to get something like that. We already have an awesome statue in Reykjavik anyways. So here, something, in 2019 they don't plan to have a FanFest in Iceland, but they plan to really put more effort into Amsterdam, EVE Vegas, stuff like that. So for me, personally, you know, I might try to go to Amsterdam. It's a lot closer than having to take off to Iceland. So we'll see how that works out. And then apparently there's a chance that FanFest will be back in 2020 in Iceland itself. Charity events and a silent auction for a good cause. That's pretty cool. Swag at the store, of course, for the attendees. Party on top of the world. Will we get a new song from Permaband? I don't know. Lots of devs have and are leaving CCP at the moment. So don't know what they'll be able to manage, but they will definitely be performing there. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's basically it. Really, when it comes to this dev blog, as someone that's not attending FanFest itself but is looking to find stuff to watch, of course, day one, the EVE Online keynote, that is something that you don't want to miss. And 1700 EVE time, that should be doable for me. I should be back home by then, despite the fact that it's super busy at home. But let's go to the EVE FanFest schedule itself. I think it's from here. You can take a look at the digital schedule here. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be able to try to catch on stream, but I went through this, you know, just quickly browsed it. Some of it very, very interesting. Empires of EVE with Andrew Groon. I'm not sure if you follow him on Twitter, but 15,000 copies, I think, is what they've managed to sell already. Very successful book. And just like EVE here with the book production of Andrew Groon, I must say, lots of professionality that gives everything around EVE a better name. So absolutely love it. 1700, the EVE Online keynote, of course. Do try to take a look at that. And then there's a charity event. But let's take a look at these roundtables. The Triglavian Domain. Join CCP Burger in his presentations that cover the origins of the Triglavian Collective, where they come from and how pilots will be able to interact with them, and the content they bring to New Eden. Very exciting. That's of course related to the 3 Cruiser that is at the time of recording in July. But yeah, I'm really curious about that. I do think that this will be the Jesus feature that the CSM described in the CSM minutes, but personally, who knows if it's for all spaces, if it's content that scales nicely from solo players to large groups. Let's hear to see what it is before we judge it, of course. Next up, improving content creation via live events. So CCP Shreddy and CCP Dragon for a short presentation and Q&A on the agency, the past of it, but also the future of the agency. And I still think that with the right tools, this could become a very powerful tool for EVE Online itself. What I'd personally like to see in there is maybe sort of an easy fleet creator, fleet finder incorporated in there. Not sure how you manage trust when it comes to EVE Online in that, but from the title here, improving content creation via live events, sounds like something that in that direction might be in the works. And then the life of CCV operations, that's always pretty interesting for the tech nerds. And then again, a Triglavian Domain roundtable. Project Foundation, not sure what that's about. Project Discovery, all the new planets. It would be nice to hear about some results. Have we found any real planets? Are there any surprising achievements by the EVE player base? That could be really cool too. And then Wormhole Space gets around table, building community, history and legacy of fleet commanders. Those are 2 player, I think. Yeah, player talks. Low-sec and faction warfare roundtable. So I'm not sure if we'll get to see that on Twitch, but just know that you know, they're actively talking about all of these aspects. Is that CCP Games keynote? Multiplayers and developer. Oh, that's probably gonna be a tournament. I'm not sure if that'll be on stream. Let's take a look at this here. Live concept art, always really cool to watch. On Saturday as well, weekend, so I should be able to catch that. Game Masters Roundtable. Let's take a look at the art pipeline, tournament roundtable, anything else of interest. Streamers Roundtable, maybe. CCP does really like streamers and streaming at the moment, so who knows. The Art of the Triglavian Collective, that sounds really interesting to me as well. What does the rest of that faction look like? A lore roundtable, Nausicaan sovereignty, so all spaces except Isaac apparently get a roundtable, and Jin is also coming to talk, spheres of influence, and then the closing ceremony. So compared to the previous fanfest, maybe it's not as filled. There are definitely, I don't know, I guess it's maybe because we had like a Valkyrie keynote, Dust keynotes in the past, that this feels like it's a little emptier. But of course, for an EVE Online player, I like the fact that there's just basically a full focus on EVE Online itself. Maybe in the closing ceremony, if they talk more about CCP games and what they're planning, we might get some information on other stuff. But EVE Online does seem to be the absolute focus of this FanFest, so I like that. And it's not exactly clear. Maybe on the Twitch channel or something like that, you can actually find a full schedule of what they're planning to stream. But yeah, EVE Online keynotes, you should be watching that, or should have watched that if you're watching this video a little bit later. I'm really excited for FanFest, and yeah, we'll see what the future brings for EVE Online. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time.